The Holy Gospel according to John. When Mary came where Jesus was and saw him, she knelt at his feet and said to him, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. When Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews who came with her also weeping, he was greatly disturbed in spirit and deeply moved. He said, Where have you laid him? They said to him, Lord, come and see. Jesus began to weep. So the Jews said, See how he loved him. But some of them said, Could not he who opened the eyes of the blind man have kept this man from dying? Then Jesus, again greatly disturbed, came to the tomb. It was a cave, and a stone was lying against it. Jesus said, Take away the stone. Martha, the sister of the dead man, said to him, Lord, already there is a stench, because he has been dead 4 days. Jesus said to her, Did I not tell you that if you believed, you would see the glory of God? So they took away the stone. And Jesus looked upward and said, Father, I thank you for having heard me. I knew that you always hear me, but I have said this for the sake of the crowd standing here, so that they may believe that you sent me. When he had said this, he cried with a loud voice, Lazarus, come out! The dead man came out, his hands and feet bound with strips of cloth, and his face wrapped in a cloth. Jesus said to them, Unbind him, and let him go. The Gospel of the Lord. Please be seated. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, my strength, my Redeemer. Amen. So, we have the story of Jesus raising Lazarus from the dead. Again. And many a preacher and many a person sitting in the pews will say on a reading such as this, We've heard it 1,000 times. Is there anything new to say? And preachers all over the world utter a small silent prayer, Lord, can I find something new to say? And the remarkable thing about the Bible, the remarkable thing about sacred scripture is there is always something else to say. That's why blessed Martin Luther used to describe the Bible as a womb. W-O-M-B, a womb. Because it was always birthing words of hope and life and truth and light. And whenever you thought that some text or some verse or some chapter or some book or some letter had been squeezed dry of every meaning, the Holy Spirit comes and gives us new life and light and truth again. So, what can I say about the story of Jesus raising Lazarus? Let's start by dispelling some misconceptions. I think people who read this text fall into two camps. Either those who say it is just filled with emotion and speaks to my pain, or those who read it and say, but why is Jesus crying? He's known for several days that his friend is sick. He now discovers that his friend is dead, but Jesus knows that he will raise him up from the dead. Why the emotion? Is Jesus faking it? As one scholar said, this whole episode is one long object lesson showing the glory of God and God giving life. So is Jesus simply going through the motions? Is he simply calling it in? Is he simply putting on a show for the crowds? No, and the clue comes in those words that get translated all sorts of ways, depending on which translation of the Bible you're reading. But it's a single Greek word that gets translated into greatly disturbed in spirit. Usually takes a phrase to describe what's going on. Greatly disturbed in spirit, I think is the way the text this morning puts it. And that's true, it's a fair translation. But that Greek word has more to it than just that. There are overtones of anger in that Greek word. It's a little bit like, if we use the word anxious, that can mean just a little anxious that we'll make it out of this worship service before lunchtime. That could mean we're anxious about a loved one, our kids getting home late at night on a Friday night into Saturday or a Saturday night into Sunday. Or it could also be that kind of anger anxiousness that happens when we turn on the TV and get the wrong news network. If you're a Democrat and you tune into Fox, or you're a Republican and you accidentally come across MSNBC, and the level of anger rises, you're getting anxious, and your loved one might look round the corner into the room and say, "Oh, he's getting a little anxious." Well, it doesn't mean antsy, it means anxious. So that Greek word has that connotation of anger. And scholars over the years have said, well, what's Jesus getting angry about? And some have said, well, he's angry at those Judeans who are trying but shortly will betray him. Or he's angry at those people who are there and who have no faith that Lazarus will rise again. That's a bit of a cop-out, because the text kind of proves that to be untrue. In verse 45 it says, many of the Jews therefore who had come with Mary and had seen what Jesus did believed in him. And the onlookers, as Jesus appears, they seem to believe that he could have raised Lazarus from the dead or kept him dying. Could not he who opened the eyes of the blind man have kept this man from dying? There seems to be plenty of faith going on there. So, to what is the anger directed? Now I've got to confess, okay, preachers steal sermons from everywhere. We're like magpies. You tell us a story, it'll soon appear in a sermon near you. That's just what we're like. We collect it from newspapers and TVs, and I remember even doing a funeral once, and the mother and father of the deceased were telling me all sorts of stories, and I turned to her brother, and I said, could you share a few stories? And he says, I'm not telling you a darn thing. And he said it deadpan. I thought he was angry at me. He smiled. He says, you'll take all my best stories and use them. So I've got to confess that there's one particular scholar, A.K.M. Adams. He teaches at Seabury Western in Evanston, Illinois, an Episcopal priest. He's the one that really planted this seed in my mind. Jesus is showing intense emotion, greatly disturbed in spirit, to the point of anger. Why? Because it is the attitude of two adversaries facing each other. There's a battle going on here. There are two old enemies fighting it out in this story. Jesus and death. Jesus, who is, as we discover in this text, the resurrection and the life. He is the personification of the resurrection and the life, and he is at war with death. That anger, that grief, that pain, that agitation of spirit is the Lord of life staring death in the face and waging war against it. And all sorts of obstacles are thrown his way. It's amazing when you start looking at the text, you see the obstacles. Things that you would think, why is that in the text? It's an obstacle. First of all, there's the stone in front of the tomb. Then there's the stench of decay. And the grave clothes tightly bound around Lazarus. All these things that ought to keep Lazarus from life and keep Jesus from Lazarus. And they're all overcome in this intense battle between the adversaries of life and death. And Jesus wins. I remember just telling a story during this past week when we were in a group and discussing how complicated the book of Revelation is, how scary it is, and how seldom we study it because we're so afraid of it. And I told the story of Mark Allen Powell, a professor, a Lutheran New Testament professor, who back in the 70s was a Jesus freak. You remember them? And he was on a bus one day and he had a book in his hand that was about the book of Revelation, and someone on the bus said, "I don't understand that book. What does it mean?" And Mark Allen Powell, in his finest Jesus freak moment, said, "God wins." That's what it means. You don't understand the nuances and the metaphors. God wins. That's all you need to know. And in this battle with death, Jesus wins. I don't know about you, but I find that interpretation incredibly comforting. Because, to be honest, we all sit in our own Bethanies. Remember, Jesus is in the town of Bethany. Bethany is Hebrew for house of affliction. We all sit in our own house of affliction. Especially on a day like this, when we commemorate those who have died in faith, those who we've loved and lost a while, those who rest in the Lord. They don't need our prayers. They don't need our best wishes. They don't need us lighting candles to send them on their way into the Lord. They rest now in the Lord. There is nothing we can do for them that God cannot do for them, and they are with God beyond any prayers of ours. But we love them, and we remember them, and we commemorate them on this All Saints Sunday. And we all wait for our own Lazarus moment. And by that I don't just mean resurrection from the dead. The word Lazarus is a play on words for El-Azar, meaning God helps. So as we sit in our own Bethany, our own house of affliction, we wait for our own Lazarus moment, our own moment where God helps. And that house of affliction can be a house of horrors, can't it? That pain of grief and mourning and loss. Just the other day, in the company of some folks who are here right now, I was in St. Pete's, and there the presenter, talking about grief, reminded us of the power of the words of Psalm 38. I am bowed down and brought very low. All day long I go about mourning. My back is filled with searing pain. There is no health in my body. I am feeble and utterly crushed. I groan in anguish of heart. All my longings lie open before you, O Lord. My sighing is not hidden from you. My heart pounds. My strength fails me. Even the light is gone from my eyes. My friends and companions avoid me because of my wounds. My neighbours stay far away. I have become like a man who does not hear, whose mouth can offer no reply. I'm not going to ask you to raise your hands if that sounds familiar, because I know every hand would go up. I'm not going to ask if you recognize the truth of those words of Psalm 38. Every hand would go up. I'm not going to ask if you're in the midst of that right this moment, because many hands would go up. I'm not going to ask if you have a family friend or a neighbour or a colleague who's going through that just now. Every word of that speaks truth to them, or every hand would go up. And yet Paul says, we mourn, but not as they that have no hope. That describes our pain. That can describe the moment we're in. That can describe the phase of grief that we're in. That can describe our every waking moment. It is a sign of mourning. But Paul says we mourn, but not as they that have no hope. And so, where does our hope lie? Our hope lies in the tears of Jesus by the side of a friend. In the disturbance of Jesus' heart and spirit to be surrounded by so many people whose hearts are breaking. And a Jesus whose anger is raised when he sees death daring to claim the final word. And Jesus steps into that moment, the personification of the resurrection and the life, and gives us that foretaste of what is to come on Calvary Hill and in a tomb in a garden. That death never has the final word. As I prepared the sermon today, I thought of those I've loved. I thought and imagined of those you've loved. And I thought of Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh all over again. As we watched those funerals this week, heard those homilies and speeches, saw those rituals of faith, a community whose heart was breaking. When I met with Rabbi Stephen from Temple Beth Israel on Longboat Key, and several of us spoke words of humour. And Stephen said, please keep that coming. I need some normality. I need to laugh. I need to be able to smile even in the midst of this. Keep talking, guys. This is good for me. A friend sent me a prayer. It was written by Merritt Malloy, a poet. And the friend got this from a book of Meditations Before Kaddish, the Jewish prayers of life and faith and hope. They're prayers for the dead, and barely mention the dead, but instead talk about the glory of God and the power of God and thanksgiving toward God. The poem can be found in my devotions for this week, which come out onto Facebook and through connections in all sorts of ways. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men who wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the streets beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give to me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved, and if you cannot give me away, at least let me live in your eyes and not in your mind. You can love me most by letting hands touch hands and by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die, people do. So when all that is left of me is love, give me away. The end of that poem strikes a chord with the ending of the Gospel reading today. He, Jesus, cried with a loud voice, Lazarus, come out! The dead man came out, his hands and feet bound with strips of cloth, and his face wrapped in a cloth. Jesus said to them, unbind him and let him go. And we that mourn spend the rest of our lives trying to let our loved ones go, while at the same time trying to hold their memory close to our heart, to bring a smile to our face at the same time as a tear runs down our cheek. We spend the rest of our lives letting them go. But our hope lies in where and to whom we let them go. We do not let them go into death, because we trust in the one who is the resurrection and the life. We do not let them go into any highway and byway. We let them go into the one who is the way and the truth and the life, to whom no one goes to God except through him. We do not let them go by brushing them casually off our shoulders as if they were nothing to us. Instead, we cherish that hole that remains in our heart and will always remain in our heart. But knowing that they rest in the Lord. Two old adversaries battling it out in the midst of a community in grief. One who is the resurrection life, and one who is death. So what does this text mean? The same as the book of Revelation. God wins. God wins. God wins. And death no longer has dominion over us.